and welcome back to another one, you guys. If you were new to the channel, my name is Andrew with Younger Nissan in Frederick, Maryland. For more information on our inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So today we are in the brand new 2025 Nissan Rogue because there is one big change for the 2025 model year. This, of course, is Nissan's best seller as well, and you also get 2 years or 24,000 miles of complimentary maintenance, which is going to save you some money there as well. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one. So having said that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2025 Nissan Rogue. You got the S starting at $29,230, which is approximately an $810 bump from the 2024 model year. Got the SV being the one we are in today, going for $30,970. Rock Creek all-wheel drive for $35,420, which is a new trim level for the 2025 Rogue. We'll be going over that a little bit later in the video, but SL for $36,090. and Platinum for $39,520. And so Rock Creek is the only trim level that comes standard with all-wheel drive. All the other trims come standard with front-wheel drive. However, you can add all-wheel drive to any of those other trims. If you wanted to do that, simply add $1,400 then to any of those prices. But regardless of the trim level that you go with, the power plant on the Rogue is going to be the same. Powering the beast is a 1.5-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder, putting out 201 horsepower at 5,600 RPM, 225 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 2,800 RPM. That power being sent to the front wheels or all wheels through a CVT with paddle shifters, which you guys know, of course, who will be testing out here in a little bit. But 0 to 60 time approximately 8.1 seconds. MPG numbers: 30 in the city, 37 on the highway for the front-wheel drive, 28 city, 35 then on the highway for the all-wheel drive. And then the Rock Creek, because of the bigger tires, is going to give you 27 in the city, 32 on the highway. But either way, taking regular unleaded fuel for all of those. But so then, before we do any kind of fun paddle shifter or acceleration test here in the Rogue, I do want to mention to you guys the drive modes. There is a circular dial located just behind the cup holders here. Drive modes, there's several of them. They're going to include Eco, Auto, Snow, Off-Road, and Sport, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, the steering sensitivity, and actually the all-wheel drive system engagement then as well, which is pretty cool. So having got all of that out of the way now, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway. Let's put the paddle shifters and acceleration here to the test. I want to see how quickly the paddle shifters are going to react for us here, and let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. All right, got it in sport driving mode here, and let's see if it holds the gear to start here. Yeah, it's holding. Wow, okay, here we go. All right, it still definitely feels like a CVT. Let me start by saying that. So it's not like I'm actually shifting through anything when I'm using the paddle shifters, but it is kind of cool that it tries to simulate an automatic transmission there, because it attempts to show you like you're holding the gear, because it kind of shows what simulated gear you are in on the digital gauge cluster here, which is kind of cool. So I kind of like that. But having said that, we weren't shifting through anything, so they're there for you if you want it though. But as far as acceleration goes, it was actually plenty fine. I have no issues whatsoever when it comes to the acceleration. There was a little bit of turbo lag at the very beginning there, but honestly, it's nothing that would bother me. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So up front, you will find 11.7-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 11.5-inch ventilated rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that comes in at 114 feet, which is plenty respectable there. That's a heck of a number, quite honestly, for what this vehicle is. As far as braking feel goes, I love it. It's a brilliant braking feel in the Rogue, so that puts a smile on my face. I don't know, it's the little things for me, but 60, 0, and 114 feet, that's actually a sport sedan number. It's a heck of a number right there. Braking is definitely on the firmer side as well. A lot of times with SUVs, it'll be kind of a squishy braking feel, but it's not the case with the Rogue, so it's kind of like a sportier braking feel, if you will. So big fan of that. But touching on suspension and handling, up front, you're going to get an independent strut type front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. As far as ride quality goes, it's been perfectly fine in my short little test drive here today, so definitely not having any issues with that. As far as steering feel goes, I would say it's even in the sport driving mode, it's still a little bit on the looser side of things, but that's to be expected in a vehicle like this, so it is what it is there. Touching on cabin noise a little bit, I haven't had any issues in my short little test drive here today, so once again, perfectly on point. Touching on rear visibility, I could see 100% perfectly fine out of my rear view mirror there. there. So you definitely shouldn't have any issues with that. But then touching on forward visibility a little bit, if you were to go with the Platinum trim level, that actually also gives you a head-up display, which is going to project your speed limit and safety features up onto your windshield, better help assisting with forward visibility, like I said. And then rain sensing windshield wipers are going to be an option for all trim levels if you wanted to go that route as well. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and find a cool spot here in the park, and let's take a look at the exterior now of our brand new 2025 Nissan Rogue. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2025 Nissan Rogue, finished in Everest White Pearl. Very cool name for an exterior color. So anyways, let me go ahead and touch on the new trim level, the Rock Creek for 2025 here first, because that is what's new. That's the big change for 2025. You're going to get all-terrain tires. Also going to get a fancy roof rack up top. You're going to get hill descent control, an off-road view camera system, and a couple other things as well. But I wanted to touch on that first because there are some exterior differences there. But let's go ahead and start with where the Rogue is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the letter J, indicating that the 2025 Nissan Rogue is built and assembled in Japan. I love that. JDM SUV right here. But starting up front, LED headlights with LED daytime running lights do come standard. You get the automatic feature with those. You also get automatic high beams. I love that one, because if you have your high beams on at night and senses the vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim it back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up to high beams for you there. So super convenient feature there. Also, another thing I wanted to mention is you do get some front air curtains right below the headlights there. Hopefully you guys can see that. So that's going to give you a little better aerodynamics, helping direct air around the wheel and tire combination. So I like that little added touch as well. But overall, I think the front looks plenty fine in my personal opinion. But that pretty much rounds out the front end. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of the 2025 Rogue here, roof rails for the Rock Creek trim level and up. Going to find some chrome upper window trim. That does come standard on all trim levels. Rear privacy glass also standard for all trims. Taking a look at the side mirrors, they are body colored power adjustable side mirrors. They will be heated for the SV trim level and up. And you're also going to get some LED integrated turn signals for some of the upper trim levels there. Going to find some chrome trim on the side skirts. You guys can kind of see the cutout where that's going to be located, but that's only for the Platinum trim level, so I wanted to mention it though nonetheless. Taking a look down at the wheel setup, they of course are going to differ amongst the trim levels. 17-inch aluminum alloys for the S and the Rock Creek. Obviously the Rock Creek having smaller wheels because they got those massive off-road tires, or all-terrain tires I should say. 18-inch aluminum alloys for the SV, and then 19-inch aluminum alloys for the SL and Platinum trim levels. But that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, and so now since we are around to the back of the Rogue here, all the way to the top, you will find a body-colored shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. You got the rear window wiper affixed to the rear glass, of course, as well. LED tail lights do come standard for every single trim level across the board, so you gotta love that. And then just below it all, you will find a single exhaust outlet. It is tucked away underneath on the driver's side there. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next. As always, here is that exhaust clip. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the Rogue, when it comes to opening up that rear lift gate, there is a button on the key fob. There is a rubberized button, of course, on the lift gate itself then as well. And there's actually a button by the driver's side left knee up front here. But I did want to mention hands-free power lift gate for the SL and Platinum trim levels. Otherwise, it is a manual lift gate, of course. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 36.5 cubic feet. It's actually a decent amount. There is a 60-40 split, of course, meaning the rear seats do fold down. That's going to bump that up to 72 cubic feet even. You got some cargo lighting back there. There's a 12-volt power outlet. You got some chrome plated tie-down anchors. That was pretty cool to see. A little bit of indented storage on the back corners there. And then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will find a spare tire, which I personally love to see. If you've ever gotten a flat tire, you know that's easier than the fix a flat. And then in-floor storage is going to be had with the SL and Platinum trim levels. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, that comes in at 38.5 inches. inches. That's decent. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the back there. Rear ventilation does come standard. You got dual rear USB charging ports coming standard as well. Rear center armrest with cup holders coming back there. Rear window sunshades, that's going to be had with the SL and Platinum trim levels. It's going to be optional for the SV that we have today. So we have what's called a premium package. It goes for $2,000. Gives you things like the rear window sunshades, also this massive panoramic moonroof. We'll get more into that later, and a bunch of other stuff actually as well. But anyways, heated rear seats also going to be optional for rear passengers there. But then making our way up to the front seats, manually adjustable cloth seating for the S trim level, 8-way power driver seat with 2-way power lumbar for the SV trim level and up, 4-way power adjustable passenger seat for the SL and Platinum trims, leather seating for the SL and Platinum, memory settings for the SL and Platinum, heated front seats for the SL and Platinum. So if you wanted seat comfort, go with the SL or the Platinum. But honestly, in my short little test drive here today, I had absolutely no issues when it comes to seat comfort. So yeah, that's perfectly fine for me. We actually have a heated steering wheel. I got to turn that on. And so speaking of the steering wheel, let's go ahead and touch on that a little bit here. It is tilt and telescoping. It is going to be leather wrapped for the SL and Platinum trim levels, optional on the SV. We got a lot of these options because of that premium package, like I keep saying. Heated steering wheel, SL and Platinum, optional on the SV. Again, we got that option. I love it. Steering wheel was plenty fine. I kind of like the flat bottom a little bit to it there too. So now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. And let me start by showing you guys the key. You got your Nissan logo all the way to the top. Lock, unlock, the button to pop the tailgate. That circular button, that's going to be remote start, which comes standard on the SV trim level and up. So you can warm this thing up on super cold days in Maryland, exactly like today. It is cold today, but anyways, it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here, simply put my foot on the brake and press that black engine start button located kind of just in front of the shifter there. And so once started up, there are 2 different gauge clusters. Once again, dependent upon the trim level that you go with, you're going to find a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster for the Platinum trim level only. All the other trim levels are going to get what you were currently looking at. So you got the tachometer to your left, speedometers on your right, digital screen front and center. To control what is on that digital screen, there are some steering wheel mounted controls found on the left side of the steering wheel there. That gives you pretty much everything you could possibly imagine. There's a digital speedometer front and center if you wanted to display that. There's your fuel information. There's tire pressure for each individual tire, radio information, some safety information. The list goes on. You also have your outside temperature. You have how many miles you have left until you hit empty, and trip A and trip B, of course, as well. But anyways, let's now go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. Overhead sunglass holder is going to come standard. I like that. You got some overhead lighting here that looks like it's straight out of the 80s, actually. They got to update that with some LED interior lighting maybe, but dual pane panoramic sunroof for the SL and Platinum trim levels is going to be optional on our SV, like I was saying. LED interior lighting is optional, by the way. I do want to mention that, but dual zone climate control for the SV trim level, tri-zone climate control for the SL and Platinum trim, so the rear passengers can set their own temperatures. Wireless phone charger for the Platinum trim level only. And you have a good amount of storage found underneath of the shifter as well, which most SUVs actually don't do. So I'm a huge fan of that. You can put your purse down there if you're a girl, or well, whatever you want to hide down there. It kind of conceals whatever it is that you want to hide. So that's kind of cool. Just in front of the shifter, if you don't have the wireless phone charger, you got a little bit of rubberized storage, so you're still probably going to put your cell phone up there. A couple USB charging ports to plug it in, of course, 12-volt power outlet. To the right of the shifter, you have your dual cup holders, and I like this black texturized finish surrounding the shifter and the cup holders here. They didn't put a gloss black. They didn't put a matte gray or a matte black. It's kind of just a texturized kind of vertical line finish, which I kind of like. It's different. But then within the center armrest, there's actually a decent amount of storage in there, and a couple of different compartments. But I also like the two-tone theme that we have going on in our particular Rogue that we have with us here today, the light and the dark leather. You got a little bit of a silver finish just above the passenger side glove box, although it is a plastic finish, I will say that, but I don't mind it. Some silver door handles as well, as opposed to matte black. I'm a fan of that little attention to detail there, and that texturized finish is continued on to the doors around the power window buttons as well. So overall, I think they did a plenty fine good job with the overall interior quality, so I don't have a problem with that. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen. There's two different sizes for the infotainment screen. 8-inch color touchscreen display for the S, SV, and Rock Creek. That, of course, is what you guys are looking at. But then there's a larger 12.3-inch color touchscreen display for the SL and Platinum trim level. So if you wanted a bigger screen, go with the top two trims there. But Bluetooth and audio streaming coming standard either way. You still get wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay either way, so you can hook up your phone and have navigation up there. So that's pretty cool. You can check out your weather and stock information if you wanted to, along with your radio information, of course. So when it comes to the sound systems, there are 3 of them. 4 speakers is going to come with the S. You got 6 speakers with the SV, Rock Creek, and SL trims, and then a Bose sound system with dual subwoofers for the Platinum trim level. So having said all that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. Let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing this morning, and let's test out our 6-speaker sound system that we have with us here today. Okay, really darn good clarity there, honestly, for just being 6 speakers, so I don't have any issues with that. I mean, it was an okay amount of bass, but the clarity is what really surprised me. It's a pretty darn good 6-speaker sound system for what it is, I'll put it that way. The other thing I like is there's actually knobs to adjust the station and the volume. It seems like these days everyone's going with everything just being adjusted through the actual infotainment screen. It makes things a lot easier having the knobs. That's just my personal opinion, but anyways, last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put the Rogue in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board. It's not the highest quality rear view camera, but it does take up the entire screen, which I am a fan of. And by the way, if you wanted to surround view monitor, go with the Rock Creek SL or Platinum. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the safety here. And let me start with the best part. The Rogue is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, which is the very highest designation given by IIHS. So that pretty much says it all right there. Front side curtain airbags do come standard. You get driver and passenger knee airbags up front as well. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard. Forward collision warning, autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane departure warning, a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert. I love that one. Rear parking sensors actually come standard. Reverse automatic braking, driver attention monitoring system then as well. Then if you were to go with the SL or Platinum trim levels, you're also going to get an adaptive cruise control system and front, rear, and side sonar. So sensors all around the vehicle so you don't hit anything. So that's kind of cool too. But overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the 2025 Rogue, excellent safety. Let me start with that, because that should be the most important thing to you, especially if you have kids in the back. This thing is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. You can't get better than that. That's what Volvos get. So yeah, that's a heck of a start right there. Also great MPGs, probably because it is a turbocharged 3-cylinder. That would explain the excellent MPGs in this thing. And so, but that is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow Younger Nissan on social media somewhere on the screen. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews and all of our fun YouTube shorts we put on our channel as well. We do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and we will see you guys all in the next video. Bye.